Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Maybe a good evening. We still got people coming in. We hit 11 here a couple minutes ago. It's jumping up to about 16 now, so we're just a couple minutes before we get started. Kind of my plan today. Wanted to go over. We're going over math. We're going to have some fun with math today. Wow. Uh, I think my high school math teacher would be proud to see me saying that here years later. Um, but yeah, we've got kind of my plan today. I want to go over creating math equations in Word a couple different ways, some cool tools that you can use to do that. Also jumping into Excel a little bit with some Word stuff. We've got Dan on the call as well. And those of you that have been to one of my webinars before probably know already. I don't like doing presentations. I like doing kind of a collaborative session. So um, yeah, feel free to jump in if you have questions. I'm glad to like slow things down a little bit and cover something again. Um, and most of the time, if you have a question, somebody else does too that they just don't want to speak up on. So feel free to speak up whenever you have a question. Um, Also, kind of as we're having people trickle in here, um, the whole point today to the webinar is to show you how to use the tool. I understand there's a lot of guidelines out there with like the BANA guidelines and things like that. Uh, this may not be following those. This is more just a demonstration of how to use the tool. So go ahead and use whatever guidelines you're comfortable with using. Um, I do have a couple polls planned on doing here, so we're gonna try to have a fairly interactive webinar. So let's make math fun today. We'll give it just a couple more minutes. We got a couple people still jumping in here. I'm trying to take a look over. I do have questions here. It looks like so we have read.ai that has joined the group. I'm not sure who put the AI bot in there. Whoever it is, send me an email. I have questions on that. So oh, and Dan's already asking questions, asking where they're calling in from. So Dan's probably gonna do that. Lindsay, I'm gonna Lindsay to unmute here. She usually helps with awesome. So Lindsay, if you could help
Hello.
with questions. Um,
Sure.
awesome. Central New York. Great. Perfect. Cool. So let's see. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to start here. Start in Word today.
No.
That's not a fun way to start the. Let's not start the webinar in safe mode. Okay. So a couple things before we get started here. Um, so being that this is about math, I'm just going to kind of jump into some of the math stuff. If you have questions on TSS in general, how to use the Tiger menu, where some of that stuff is placed, we do have webinars on kind of a getting started with TSS fairly regularly. So be sure to jump on those to find out more of the getting started with TSS. Um, being that this is about math, I do want to cover one thing in the profile settings before we get started, because this is new with TSS 9. So if you go into your profile settings by clicking open, down here at the bottom we have the math section. So you can select the drop down where we have either Nemeth, UEB. We have several different ones. We now have the Spanish and Portuguese one. That one does require that you use the MathCat translation for that. For anything else, you can use Nemeth or UEB Technical, and you can uncheck or check those. So depending on depending on what you want to use, you can use Nemeth or UEB. And now with the new update, we can do the Spanish and Portuguese, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna leave mine set with Nemeth here, and I'm going to I'm gonna have MathCat unchecked. So this will be back with the LibLouis translation. And just real quick, I'm gonna throw a poll up here. Curious, who is this? Might be a fun technical day. Let's see if we can figure out why Teams is saying I'm not connected. Okay, you know what? Just put it in chat. Who's so who uses Nemeth? Who uses UEB? Who uses both? And I'm just kind of curious. From our standpoint, it's nice to get a good idea for that. And okay, and then the other question was, who's using MathType, and then who has the Tiger Software Suite 9, where you can use the built-in equations in there to be able to do math equations with TSS9 to translate those. Is anybody using that feature in TSS9 yet? Is everybody aware of that feature? Because we're going to go over both of those. So if you have TSS8, it's a great reason to upgrade to 9 to be able to use the native word equations. But I'm going to start with MathType here because this is what people historically have used. So with MathType, to insert equations into Word, you can just click on the enter line. It gives you a lot of different categories that you can use for this. So you can pick algebra, statistics, mathematics, trig, geometry, all kinds of different things. I'm going to just pick algebra here, and it is really simple for using this stuff in MathType. So when you have MathType open, there's a lot of different ways you can either go in here to into the file menu, click file, close and return to document 1. Anytime you close this, whatever is here will be inserted automatically into the document. So it says you want to save changes. By clicking yes, that inserts your math equation into Word. So wherever the cursor is placed, you can place it down a couple lines, hit insert. We can do a different equation, make changes to this, close. This goes through and inserts that into Word. The nice part about this is, let's say that you have a math equation here that you've edited. You can double click on this. This will open it. I don't remember what it was. I think it was, or it was B. But you can make changes. And then when you close it, it will go ahead and update that in Word for you. So this has traditionally been a really popular way to get math equations into Word. You've got a lot of different options with MathType here. So a lot of the ones that I stick with is either algebra. Algebra is probably the biggest one, but there has always been you can insert equations into Word natively with this, and now with TSS9, you can insert your equation into Word. So I'm just going to, we're going to do a simple math equation: 4 + 4 = 8. And so with that, it's as simple as clicking on stuff, and then you can, same way you can end up moving this stuff around to create your math page. Once you have everything inserted into the document the way you want, it's literally just as simple as hitting translate document. It's going to ask you to save it. So I'm going to save this to my desktop. And it always does the save when you do a translation. So we're just going to hit save here. and this has this is updated, or this is translated into Braille for those math equations. This can do both um, math type and word native equations. But the one thing you will notice here is it does have a starting and an ending markers here for the equation. Sometimes you'll see, you'll get like a numbered list of equations. And so the nice thing is you can have start and stop markers on that for those. So let's close out of this. We're going to do a little bit more kind of a real world situation here. We're just going to do a new document, and I'm going to use, let's say we have addition. We're going to go to insert here, and I'm going to say insert equation. Maybe 4 plus 4 equals 8. And then I'm going to insert another one. And this is going to be 5 plus 4 plus 9. Insert another one. 6 plus 4 equals 10. And so we've got a couple of them added in here. Let's add one more just for, we'll go with this many. So you can highlight this, format your document exactly the way you would like. So I'm going to go here. We're going to make this a numbered list. It pulls this over to the side. And then, so if we were to translate this right now, you're going to get your starting marker and your stop marker. And sometimes when you have a list like this, this gets a little bit complicated. So sometimes you want to have like a grouping for that. So to tell if it's going to group it, you can come up here and hit the paragraph, and this will show you some of the details on the document, which gives you the little backwards P here. So right now, this is just a standard. There's nothing fancy going on here. But to fix this, if we want to do the grouping, there is a short code that we can add. I have this, so this is through the Duxbury Swift add-in. I'm just going to say all controls here. Okay. So I want to choose my template. I'm going to choose Bannon UEB with Nemeth. And then this is, it kind of changes the look of it. And I'll show you how to change that back here in a second. But there is this drop down here for math. So you can say start or technical chain start. So you want to do that wherever you want the chain of math problems to start. So I'm going to just put this at the end of the addition header here. So I'm going to say start. It doesn't change the look of it at all. At the end, I'm going to select this one. I do technical chain end. And then again, it doesn't change the look of it. I'm going to go back and change the layout. I don't know why it does. I don't know why it goes into draft mode when you use this, but I like to put that back to print layout. So I'm going to say this here. And if I go back to the home tab, I have this little P that I was looking at earlier to see whether or not these pieces of shortcode have been added. So if we click on P, you'll notice now that we have these little purple pieces of shortcode. They look identical except for the last little bit. So PTIMS is the start and PTIME is the end. So you don't need to have the Duxbury Swift add-in. You can just copy and paste these. You can type them in yourself. I think it's easy with the Duxbury add-in. So that's what I use. So we have the header. We have our numbered list. This works with numbers and letters. So if you had it A, B, C, it also works with that. And this is literally just as simple as coming over here, hit translate document. We're going to go ahead and save it. Just like always, addition. Just save the document here. And then sometimes these markers will show up this way. You can just say switch to ASCII and switch back to why the plus is showing up there. It's kind of goofy. Let's try that one more time. So yeah, the marker showed up here, which is sometimes normal. If you switch it over to ASCII, then switch it back, you'll notice that you have your starting marker here and your ending marker here. So that makes it to where, this here we have, um, the number for the list, number 1, number 2, number 3. We have the equation, and then that way we can have our Nemeth grouping um, a little bit simpler of a list. I know some people have requested that before.
Sarah.
So, yes, I'll say some people. Dan can jump in. So covered a lot so far on this. Any questions so far for inserting equations using TSS9, for translating equations in Word, math type, anything like that? Again, I like to have an interactive group to where we can, I do see some stuff in chat, but I didn't check it earlier, so hopefully it's not a bunch of locations. So thank you for adding that as an option. Just a note. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sarah, for the.
I think they did, didn't they? We added a Nemeth. I can't see the. Oh,
let's go back here.
Yeah, so there's a number sign, then the number, and then there's the punctuation sign, and then the period. Let's. I don't know if she can unmute.
I don't have that here, but let's. I can. Let's see where's Sarah at in the group. Oh, that's UEB. So Aaron said that's not Nemeth, that's UEB. Functioning. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. That is that's good feedback. So thank you for that. We can I'll check with the team and we can adjust it. But the workflow is there. Might just need to be something that we can.
Yeah, it's kind of a it's sort of it's a hidden feature right now since it's the code, but we did put together a Nemeth table, so I guess we missed the one symbol because the number is a Nemeth number, but I guess we need to. No, it's not UEB. It was translating everything outside the equations as UEB regardless, but we had inside of the short codes we built a Nemeth table, but maybe we must have missed the punctuation marker. So I thought I gave her the Nemeth outputs.
But, so also looks like we've had a couple people here. We had Aaron. Aaron had asked, can the opening and closing indicators be at the beginning and the end of the document only? You can insert them wherever you want on there. So yeah, you have the opening and closing on that. If you don't add them, so like if I go back, let's go back to reload original document.
Well, the caveat is you really inside of there you can really only have the Nemeth numbers or everything. I mean the numbering or lettering for the equations, or everything else has to be inside of an equation. So for it to be, and if it's Nemeth math stuff, so the only caveat that we added was if you have just equation numbering, you can group them. I mean, it works if it's just equations too. But if you put in a bunch of text in there, like the next set of equations, the guideline said you were supposed to break around the groups of equations. And so.
Yeah, and so I mean, it doesn't matter if there's I put 3 in here. So if you have 20 on a page, you can do that just as long as it's just the equations.
Yeah, or the numbering or lettering for the equations.
Yep. Let's see here. And then I think there's another question here too. So, oh, and then toggling back and forth with ASCII. So you can just go into the Tiger menu, and this is with I have to translate it first. So we have this with display, and you can toggle back and forth. This is with everything. It doesn't have to be math. So you can switch back and forth with this with any translation, which makes it nice for being able to do. If you want to see that, and you can actually show the document this way and hit print, and it'll still print the Braille dots. So if you would prefer to see it this way instead of the Braille dots, that's a preference for you. Perfect. The other thing too is sometimes, you know, we went through this with inserting um, inserting documents or equations into the document. I did from I inserted into the document from just typing it in. You can actually use a number of different tools. I know Dan's used like ChatGPT to insert stuff. There's also MathPix on here, so you just like did a search here. So this is just math equations image of through wiki of the quadratic equations, and you can just click on this, minimize here. And so this is just an image of that. And so you can either upload the image to MathPix, or come down here, I have MathPix running. So I can just do a snipping of that. And so then I can snip this, that pulls that into MathPix to show it here. On here, I do have, it says I have 7 snips remaining. So I have the free version. You can upgrade to the pro, and I don't know when the snips resets. I think that's daily, but it does give you some free ones to pull in math equations for that. And the nice part is you can just say copy to Microsoft Word. This is copy. This will copy it to the clipboard. And then as you go back to your Word document, which I should have somewhere here, just wherever you're at in your Word document, you can just hit Control V. And so this is going to ask you how you want to insert that into the Word document. So you can just do the native Microsoft equation. Just click OK. And so this went from a Wikipedia or a wiki image into MathPix and then paste it here. So if you have something that's complicated and you want to use that specific one, you can do that, and then you can go in and edit it just like you would if it was an equation that was typed out. The other thing too, I'm going to do a couple of different ways because I want to make sure that we cover everything. So let's just do Control V again. So we're going to paste another one. You can do this using MathType. If you do this with MathType, it's always going to insert a period at the end. You can just delete that period if that's easy. The other way to do it is if you just open MathType and do inline. While MathType is open here, you can just do Control V, paste it. It's going to put the equation into MathType for you. And then when you close out of it, it's going to ask you if you want to save it. And then this is going to insert it without the period. So depending on your preference, you've got a couple different options there for, you can either insert it using the equations, the native equations for Word. You can insert it with just pasting through MathType and then deleting the period, or you can just insert it directly through MathType. So a couple different options there. You do have some options with MathPix that's fun. So you have the snipping tool. You can upload a snip. You can do things like like convert a PDF. Some of the stuff you want to be careful with PDFs on there because a lot of PDFs will come with a lot of extra designs and stuff like that. So sometimes that can be a little bit tricky. Easiest way that I have found is, just to snip the. I like using the snipping portion of that. So, who here does anybody use MathPix on a regular basis? You have new messages. Awesome. Okay, so looks like we're still got a couple things. Perfect. So let's see. We have that. The other one that we see quite a bit of is math in Excel for using like plotting different lines, parabolas, things like that. So as you're working in Excel, this is just like any other Excel data entry stuff. So if we want to start by like plotting a linear equation, let's do like y. Let's do y, and so here y equals 2x 1. And so with y, I'm going to start here with -3, -2, 1. So once I get the order going here, I can bring that down. So we have a list of where the y-axis is. And then I can just change this over here. So we just do equals 2x 1. Oops. So instead of 2x 2 times x. So this is actually x. So here we have the this is going to be 2 times the xl plus 1. And then you can just drag this down, and this will give you the difference in where that's of what y is going to equal. Or this here, you can just select all of this, say insert, and just do I like the linear scatter. You can do that dots if you want. And so this adds the dots. This has the xy coordinates. So this gives you the a good place to start with. If you right click on here, so right click, move chart. You always need to move the chart to a new sheet to do the translation. So this will give you the chart. This will give you the sheet with the data in it. And then you can just go to the Tiger menu, hit translate document. And this is going to ask you if you want to translate the entire workbook. And so doing this is going to translate. So we have the chart. This is the original chart. This is the chart in Braille. This is the chart in ink. We also have the original data sheet. This is the original data sheet in Braille. And this is the original data sheet with ink that lines up with the Braille chart. So we've kind of separated that out to make it easy for 2-pass printing if you want to do it that way, or if you have a spot dot or the Color Ink Connect. We broke it up into a couple different. Let's get back to the fun chart though. Where's the chart in Braille? We broke it up into a couple different ways to view it. What I have found is it seems so I like having the line a little bit thicker there. So I usually select the line. Right now it has a width of 1.5 pixels. I'm going to bump this up to 2 pixels. So it makes towards a little bit easier. We have the points on here. And then, yeah, this is just as easy as Control P. And I'm going to do the rogue sheet, print file. And this is this line. We're going to save this on the desktop. Save. And so here we have the nice part about this is with the View Plus printers. This is anything View Plus makes. This is the Pixblaster, the Irie printers of the Irie track, the Irie sheet, Braille Buddy. You get multi-dot height. So this is something that you're only going to get from us, which is the heavier dots on the actual line, the lighter dots on the grid, where you can still see the grid there. You can also have, so we have the Braille dots here as well. But this is an easy way to go directly from Excel into having plotted lines. The other thing with this too is let's go back to it. We're gonna do a parabola here because parabolas also seem to be fun. We can show you how we can edit some of that stuff in real time that makes it fun. So let's see. So for the parabola here, we're going to do -1, 0, start the line, 5 here. And this one we got equals this cell to the second power minus see minus 4 times this. No, I wasn't done typing. I bumped the wrong key. 4 times the cell plus 3. So this one, insert. So this one here, our equation is y equals x squared, second power, minus 4x plus 3. So this one's x. And then so same thing as we have with the original one. This just plots out what x is for us. We can grab all of this stuff here. We'll go to insert. We'll come down here to the scatter plot here, which shows the nice parabola that we've mapped. Same thing on the translation process. But the cool thing is if once you have this plotted, you can always come back in here and change this. So let's say that we want to change what the value of x is. Let's start this with 1. 1. Change this one to 2, 3. So as you change your data points, this will, well, that's probably not the best parabola there, but you can, let's do -2, 1, 0. What did I? Oh, 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's why. -1. Let's but the nice thing is you can map this stuff and adjust it. So I'm just going to move this back to -1, 0. We have the parabola there. Again, we can take this, right click on it. I'm going to say move chart, move this to a new sheet, and then translate this. Translate the document here. We want to translate everything in the workbook. And if we go to the Braille one, I want to select the line. A lot of this stuff is also preference too. So depending on, you can do a lot of fun stuff with this. So I have my tool panel pulled up there. I have the line selected. Say I want to increase this. I want to change this to black color to make it really, really bold in there. And so yeah, I think that's pretty good with that. Let's say Control P for print. And try equation. So we have a nice parabola there that has, has the nice curve to it. We've got the lines on there with the Braille. Again, this is, you might want to adjust the stuff to fit the guidelines you're looking for. So this is more of how to use the tool. But if you wanted to move the Braille labels over, you could do so. And so, yeah, fun stuff with that. The other one that we see quite a bit too. Does anybody have any questions so far? I kind of, as I get to clicking with stuff and I have my, yes, Braille table needs to be fixed. My template has the cell for the slope, another y-intercept. Can you just change the 2 cells to get any line?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, okay.
So like for the for the slope line intersect, you can set a cell for M and for what
Yep.
MX plus B. So I made an M cell and a B cell, and then just had the equations reference those. So you can change the X. You can add X's and add Y's and just change from negative slope to positive slope by just changing those two cells. And same thing for the quadratic equation. You can do the A for the X squared, B for the X, and C for the constant, and change the parabola shapes and things, and just by changing three cells. So it's just, again, doing Excel magic, and like how to make the markers bigger, how to make the, bigger or hollow, where to move the axes.
Well, I mean, this doesn't, and yeah, absolutely. It doesn't just have to be for the quadratic equation. It doesn't just have to be for linear stuff. I mean, we can do exponential curves in there as well, where we do, x equals 0. And so like on an exponential curve one, we'd have y equals 2. So and then this is just going to reference that cell of x. And so equals 2, referencing the x cell.
Yeah, but even the two, you could make the 2. I mean, that still is a linear equation, because that's if you make if any constant, you can make it its own cell off on the side and then reference those.
Yeah, and so if you wanted to, if you wanted to have the constant up here of like, this is the constant, that's a 2. You could change this to equals this one to the, and so this is still going to give you the same numbers, but
no, it won't. You got to change the D, put a $sign D, $1.
Yep.
On the first one.
I forgot about that. It's been a little while since I've done Excel.
I do a lot of financial reports, so that's the parts of Excel I know.
So then, yeah, as you change your constant in here, which say you want to make that a 4, that's going to change all of the numbers in there. And the cool thing is this, let's change this back to 2 for a second, and we can go into here. Say insert. I'm just going to do, I really like this, the scatter plot on here, because it shows that exponential curve. And as you change this stuff, we're going to change the constant to a 4. And this is going to change all of the points on the chart in real time. So it'll show the exponential curve.
So even after translated, it does it too.
Yep. So makes it really cool to be able to, if you have several problems that you want to show stuff or put into a document, and there's only a couple things that are different, whether it's the constant or what you want the value of x to be. We could change the value of x here to be 1. Actually, let's do by 5s here. 5, 10, 15. This is going to really go nuts here in a second. So I don't know why that had a weird dip there. Let's change this to 2. I don't know what is going on there. Maybe it's, anyways. Yeah, you can change the numbers of it. You can change the parts of the graph on here. So if you want to go into here, like I have all the graph stuff selected, change this. Right now I have it set up as this is like a light color. I would not do this necessarily, but I mean, you can change this to be darker. That's gonna, I think, be more confusing, but you can adjust the color of that to make sure that it's the dot heights are less, to where as you're plotting stuff, it's going to be easier to see kind of the background that Excel lays out. And so by default, it's pretty good by default, but you can definitely adjust stuff to make it easier to understand. The other one, let's see. So we've covered a little bit of that. The other one too.
Before you move on, we had a question from Sarah. I'm not sure you saw it. Is there a way to make the equations that are in the cell show up in Nemeth?
No, because they're not really The Excel one is right now, if you look at, there's no option for math because they're not actually in equations. They're just in the cell thing, and they're in the Microsoft equations, so there's no translator. So it just is basically doing like it just does a UEB translation
Mm.
of any of the text. So it's not really knowing that they're equations or not. So it's
Yeah, normally it'd be down here for the math stuff, but it's not there in Excel.
yeah, it's not differentiating. I mean, again, this is something we haven't. I'd say people either seem to use Word or Tiger Designer in TSS, and not that many using the Excel. So again, it's like those are things, uh, or we haven't quite figured out how we would do it, but or if people are using the table versus just the image, because even math type allowed you to search stuff into Excel, but in the equations they were just being rendered as graphics. And that's also kind of what happens in the ink layers, is they end up being a JPEG or a PNG or something. So then they don't emboss correctly anyway. So none of the tools actually worked very well to try to do that underlying the hood, under the hood. So it's easier since it ends up being Braille. I end up making the equation in Word and then pasting it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have it in as if you put things in there as a Braille font in the original one, then it won't retranslate those. So that's the other trick, is you can just grab the equivalent Nemeth or UEB equation and put it into a cell, and then it will be available in the table. And then you can also cut and paste it into a text box into the graphic, or reference it in the graphic.
Let's see, do we have that in here for Tiger? We don't. We should add that. So in Word we have so we have QuickPaw too. So if you can type with like a 6-key entry, you could always type that in directly as an option as well.
We also have a request for French math.
Yeah, I was trying to play with that one. I don't know.
I like it. This is a good webinar. We're having all kinds of questions and suggestions. That was what sparked the Spanish and Portuguese. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, the math cat won't work with French. I think, yeah, it turns it off. So the French math there's a couple different, like there's some German ones and things that are coming from other venues as opposed to the LibLouis English ones, but I haven't ever tried the French. So I was trying that now, but I'm not sure what the issue is either. If there's a specific problem, if it's just not doing it or it's crashing or what.
On the other one too that I don't know, I think is beneficial too. So let's, as we're kind of on making like line charts and quadratic equation stuff, the other one that we see quite a bit of is like pie charts. So if we have, if we were going to make, a pie chart on like math, school subjects, do math, reading, science, art. Let's say, students that signed up for each class. Select this. This, say insert. And so we have say students here. Select everything. So we have our chart there. Yeah, and I'm just going to click move charts. You definitely always want to move the chart. Doesn't matter whether it's a line chart, pie chart, a bar chart. You always want to move it to its own page. Go Tiger. And hit translate document. Translate everything. So if we click on Braille, traditionally we had to go in and like change the colors, which is really easy to do. One of the other things that you can do is if you click on each pie piece, right click on it, and you can say outline. Change that to black. Change this to weight. If we want to do like a bit heavier weight there, do each one of these here, black. Do weight. Outline. Let's do weight. Here. Oops. I think I have that pretty good. So we have the different outlines that kind of separates it. This is going to translate into multi-dot height. So some of the stuff, the orange is probably going to be different. Let's change this to, let's do this in a red. You can go in here and just change the color of it. I'm going to change this to red. Oops, don't select the whole thing. Let's Z. Make sure I just get this pie piece selected. There we go. So if I just hit Control P, just a row sheet. I'm going to call this one pie. And so this kind of used to be kind of the main way of doing that, which, you know, you can see that the heavier lines here that separate the pie pieces. But a lot of that stuff is, a lot of the pie pieces are difficult to tell the difference between, because when you switch this over to a grayscale that is only focused on contrast, that's how we get the dot heights. So if we were to make the pie pieces like a light yellow all the way up to a darker color between the 4 different versions, we get a different, it'd be easier to tell. And we could definitely do that. But a couple of years ago, we started doing the color pattern fill, which I think makes it super easy to tell the difference of, and it's really easy to enable that. So you can just click on your profile settings, and this is in the printer settings, so you don't have to go in and do it this way. You open up printer properties for the specific printer you're printing on, and this is going to open up control panel here for that, and it's under the Tiger menu for this one. More options, and then apply patterns, and this is going to be the VP7. We have several different color pattern fills that you can do. And you hit save. And so if I just do Control P, we're going to do the exact same thing. Print, we're going to call this pie pattern. It's going to be a different. Same image, but makes it way easier to tell the difference. So like I don't remember what the colors were exactly, but I can tell you because I know the patterns. Bricks are red, waves are blue, oranges or little circles that look like oranges are orange, and then this one is green. So once you get the patterns figured out, it makes it very easy to just auto pick up the colors with the darker lines in there. So yeah, it makes it easy to create things like pie charts. This works great with bar charts. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff really easy to enable patterns. That was a huge leap in making things easier to create, more accessible. Can the colors be converted to a texture? I guess I don't understand the question there. A texture being like multiple different dot heights, or oh, that's what you just said. Okay, yeah, and so a lot of this stuff can be edited as well. So kind of take a little side tangent here, but in here we do have under tools, and this is entire designer, you can do the pattern editor. So we have the VP7, but there's a lot of, so we have all the different patterns here. And so this is a 10 by 14 square. This is the brown thatch pattern. Anytime it sees this color, it's going to apply this pattern. You can make your own. So if you wanted to go in here and change, you can select the lower dot height, and it's going to show you a preview of what that's going to look like. I don't want to save that, but you can go ahead and save that if you wanted. So it'll change the patterns. This is there's not really a standard out there right now, but this is we're kind of making the standard, sort of, in the sense that like this is something that just the V Plus printers is doing. So yeah, feedback is definitely appreciated, but as of right now, this is what we've come up with. So yeah, great question so far. I'm not familiar with French math. Oh, so it looks like Dan's answering questions here in the chat. We've got about 10 minutes left. We've covered a lot of stuff on the webinar. Is there anything anybody wants to see again, has a question on, anything like that? I usually like to leave about 5 or 10 minutes at the end for questions. Going over stuff. We've got a fair amount of people on here, so silly question: is Tiger Viewer and TSS the same? So Tiger Viewer, Tiger Designer, they all come in the Tiger software suite. So I have the Tiger Designer open here. You can use Tiger Viewer, which just views it. But yes, all of that comes with.
Well, the Tiger Viewer is with the printer driver, so that's free. Yeah. The free, printer drivers are free. You can install those and set up the virtual printer and things like that. But yeah, Tiger Viewer is a free version essentially of Tiger Designer where you can view it, but you can't edit anything. Tiger Designer has a lot more features, and that's part of TSS and is a licensed product. But Tiger Viewer is free with the printer driver.
But if you have so if you have a printer, the printers came with the Tiger software suite when they were shipped. So I would hope you're using the Tiger software suite, which should come with, should have Tiger Designer there. So awesome. Any other questions that we can answer here before we wrap it up?
Well, I was typing it, but Susan said that Neil might be able to help with the French. It does look like MathCat supports it, kind of like we found out with the Spanish Portuguese one. So we'll just need to make sure we get the flow working, because right now it's not calling MathCat. It's trying to run it through LibLouis, and I can't get French math to do much of anything. So so I think that the flow got broken somewhere. But it sounds like we can have. We'll have to check with Neil as to whether it's ready to be turned on, but it says it's in there. Well, it says it's about 69%. But so I don't know. Some of the things he wasn't ready for us to turn on, but the Spanish Portuguese, I mean, obviously the UEB and Nemeth is really good. It actually supports a lot more than LibLouis can support in math functions. The Spanish Portuguese was also solid, so we'll check with them on French.
So a couple things here. Sarah Larkin also mentioned that you can add shapes in Microsoft Word, which is awesome. And then you can also, we're going to open up Word. We're going to have fun in Word for a second while I'm answering other questions. I also had a question on where is this going to be recorded. So it is in the chat. I have had people mention they've had problems getting to it from the chat. But I do, so whenever we cover a new topic, I do save that webinar. I'll kind of crop it up a little bit and then post that to YouTube. So this should be on YouTube here within about a week. Also, a lot of people want the webinar recorded because there's certain parts that they want to see in more detail or something like that. You can always go onto my calendar, or so if you go to viewplus.com/demo, you can book time on my calendar. We can go over specifics as well. So the recording is going to be there, but if you have specific questions, feel free to jump on there to do that. So as Sarah was mentioning, you can insert shapes in here. So let's say we want to insert a shape. You can do that. And then also I have, so if you go to insert and you can do a text box. Just gonna do a simple text box. And the nice thing is you can move this around to wherever you want. And let's say test. And And let's see, format shape. And so I think it's under line. So it has solid line. I'm going to say no line. And then when you translate it, we can go to Tiger. I'm just going to translate the document. Save this to here. Let's go to desktop. Save. I know that says test. Normally you'd have a math equation in there or something, but you can move that around to be in a different spot. Caution though, with the text boxes, as if the text box is too small, it can cause some complications. Just make sure that your text box is big enough to contain the Braille, because Braille is quite a bit larger than the text that was originally entered in there. So thank you, Sarah, for that suggestion to point out. Awesome. Thank you. Also, there's YouTube. I'm going to add a couple things here. There's this one. So yeah, if you want to jump on my calendar and have a demo of anything more specific, the YouTube, Dan has posted that, which we have tons of videos on. We do have 4 minutes left here. I want to respect everybody's time, but if you have questions, now would be a great time to maybe get in 1 or 2 last questions before we wrap up the webinar.